Muito boa tarde. Vamos então dar início a esta sessão da apresentação do segundo volume do livro Emotional Expression, the Brain and the Face, coordenado pelo professor Dr. Nino Freitas Magalhães, que é, como todos os presentes saberão, diretor do Laboratório da Expressão Facial da Universidade de Fernando Pessoa, com o apoio, naturalmente, do seu colaborador mais direto, o Dr. Érico Castro, cumprimentar também o Sr. Dr. Manuel Carvalho, Sr. Diretor da Escola Secundária desde Castro do Canideu, e os alunos e os professores também que deram se deslocaram para assistir a esta apresentação. Também queria cumprimentar os professores da casa, alguns dos quais estão aqui presentes, como o professor Delfim Santos, o professor Alexandre Freire, pelo menos são aqueles que eu diviso assim mais de imediato. Agradecer à Gabinete de Comunicação e Imagem da Universidade o apoio que dá a estas sessões, sempre, e também ao nosso departamento de fotografia. E dizer-lhes que aqui estamos outra vez para poder assistir à apresentação de mais este trabalho científico, no qual se recolhe um conjunto de publicações prestigiosas e preciosas de grandes autores que se dedicam ao estudo destas problemáticas importantíssimas das emoções, da psicologia das emoções e da forma como, na verdade, as emoções acabam por comandar a nossa própria vida. Como facilmente compreenderão, a própria palavra emoção tem essa dimensão etimológica de movimento, de nos fazer mover, de nos fazer mexer. Portanto, nós somos fundamentalmente, e isso nos distingue na nossa dimensão de animais racionais, somos sobretudo movidos por emoções. E eu dizia que estes estudos, estas investigações que o professor Freitas Magalhães conduz no seu laboratório da expressão facial têm cada vez maior importância num tempo em que, e alguns dos colaboradores da obra o dizem claramente, nós temos certamente que, não digo alterar, não digo inverter, mas digo pelo menos alterar o paradigma a que a psicologia se tem dedicado há muitos anos a esta parte, há alguns séculos a esta parte, inverter esse paradigma, ou melhor, alterar esse paradigma, passando do domínio excessivamente cognitivo a que a psicologia se tem dedicado para um domínio de natureza mais emocional. De resto, foi justamente por termos nós portugueses essa dimensão de criaturas emocionais que nos deram, de alguma maneira, uma dimensão importante para nós podermos, como povo pequeno que éramos num tempo, no século XVI, final do século XV, princípio do século XVI, Portugal tinha, como sabem, menos de 1,5 milhão de habitantes, era um país relativamente pequeno, sem cabedais, como se costumava dizer na época, sem cabedais materiais, sem dinheiro, de resto, como agora também, para pensar em grandes projetos. Mas a verdade é que nos aventuramos por necessidade própria, e aí a necessidade começou o nosso engenho, de termos de procurar a nossa própria sobrevivência como país, fora das nossas fronteiras naturais, e ir buscá-las longe, através dos mares, a países e povos que desconhecíamos inteiramente, mas com os quais acabámos por nos relacionar com essa facilidade que temos para a emoção, para nos ligarmos muito mais pela via emocional que pela via cerebral ou pela via racional, como às vezes se diz, agora de forma imprópria, com outros povos. E quem ler alguns trabalhos dessa época, alguns relatos da forma como nós contactámos com esses povos, um deles particularmente significativo, feito por um cosmógrafo do reino e também, ao mesmo tempo, cronista, que acompanhava a primeira viagem do Vasco da Gama à Índia, um homem chamado Duarte Pacheco Pereira, que nos deixou os seus relatos numa obra célebre, intitulada Esmeralda Decito Orbis. Se lermos ainda hoje essa obra, Esmeralda Decito Orbis, nós vemos com clareza que, de facto, muitas das situações difíceis que tivemos na abordagem a certos povos e a certos portos, onde tivemos que acostar para fazer a guarda, como se dizia na época, ou seja, para beber água fresca e víveres frescos para se poder aguentar o tempo da viagem, nós vemos claramente que a forma de relacionamento que nós utilizamos com esses povos, dos quais não falávamos a língua, não nos conhecíamos sequer, a forma de nos articularmos verbalmente com eles, foi sempre pela via de linguagens de natureza não verbal, portanto, linguagens gestuais, linguagens faciais, justamente tradutíveis ou tradutoras de alguma facilidade de relacionamento emocional com esses mesmos povos. E por isso fomos capazes, como disse de forma muito categórica o antigo primeiro Presidente da República do Senegal, um grande poeta, um grande escritor africano, negro, chamado Leopoldo Sédar Senghor, dizia claramente que aos portugueses o mundo deve uma coisa fundamental. Foi terem acabado com o conceito de raça pura. E, portanto, estava dessa forma a dizer Leopoldo Senghor que os portugueses foram responsáveis pela primeira grande miscigenação biológica do mundo. Isto é, nós não tivemos qualquer dificuldade em mesclarmos, em misturarmos, em miscigenarmos com asiáticos, com negros, com índios, com gente de todas as proveniências, fazendo com eles esta mescla extraordinária que se reflete hoje em várias partes do mundo ainda no próprio Planalto da Índia, concretamente nas zonas adjacentes ao antigo vice-reino português da Índia, como Goa, Damão, Dio, Osmão, por aí fora, a própria África, mas sobretudo o Brasil. O Brasil é o melhor exemplo, de facto, dessa nossa capacidade, pela via da emoção, nos ligarmos com as pessoas. E, portanto, temos, na verdade, qualidades emocionais natas para podermos estabelecer franca comunicação com o povo de outra natureza, razão pela qual os nossos irmãos brasileiros, dentro daquela forma fácil que eles têm para fazer piada com tudo que diz respeito aos portugueses, um botequim, uma taberna no Rio de Janeiro, ali por Copacabana, na praia da Atlântica, Copacabana, na Avenida Atlântica do Rio de Janeiro, um botequim, enfim, lá escondido, tinha na parede exibidas as invenções, que eles diziam, os inventos dos nossos irmãos portugueses. Então, quais são os inventos que estão lá, ainda nesse botequim, que lá está, para se poder admirar? Quais são os inventos que eles colocaram lá, que nos são devidos a nós? O abanico, não para fazer a fogueira, não? O grande invento dos portugueses, na perspectiva deles, foi o abanico. Depois vamos vendo, e a páginas tantas aparece uma fotografia de uma mulatona estrela, uma bonita mulatona, uma forte mulatona, e por baixo está escrito assim: esta foi a melhor invenção dos nossos irmãos portugueses. Isto para corroborar, mais uma vez, a expressão do Senghor, que, na verdade, essa capacidade que tivemos de extinguir as raças puras e mesclar toda a gente, isto é possível quando um povo se liga com os outros pela via comunicativa mais emocional do que propriamente mais cognitiva. A nós interessou-nos pouco, lamentavelmente interessou-nos pouco, saber o que os outros sabiam e, portanto, extrair dos outros o conhecimento que tinham. Interessou-nos mais viver com eles, conviver com eles, construir com eles novas formas de sociedade e, se calhar, por essa razão é que o mundo hoje não é tão mau como era no século XVI, quando nós nos atiramos ao mar para resolver os nossos problemas. Eu quero, naturalmente, sublinhar apenas com estas palavras a satisfação da Universidade de Fernando Pessoa e das edições da Universidade de Fernando Pessoa em poder patrocinar mais esta publicação, este segundo volume de uma investigação científica, que neste caso é feita internacionalmente, portanto, é feita não só a partir da Universidade de Fernando Pessoa, mas também de outras e muitas universidades que aqui aparecem refletidas, desde os Estados Unidos, a Austrália, enfim, a Índia e outras universidades, que têm aqui professores seus com contributos importantes nesta cada vez maior e mais importante caminhada de, como diria, como estava escrito no oráculo de Delfos, no tempo de Apolo, nos conhecermos cada vez mais a nós mesmos. E conhecermos cada vez mais a nós mesmos é uma garantia que temos de conhecermos melhor, também de sermos cada vez melhores e, consequentemente, percebermos que a forma mais correta que temos de resolver muitos dos nossos problemas é evitá-los pela comunicação. E este livro, mais uma vez ordenado pelo professor Freitas Magalhães e do Laboratório de Expressão Facial da Universidade de Fernando Pessoa, é bem o manifesto, bem o exemplo de que nesta instituição, nesta universidade, através do seu laboratório de expressão facial e das emoções, o que nós procuramos, no fundo, que o professor Freitas Magalhães procura procura e os seus colaboradores nos seus estudos é tentar compreender melhor esta criatura complexa que somos nós, descomplexificando esse conhecimento a ponto de transformar também as nossas atitudes, os nossos comportamentos num sentido mais positivo para que possamos, na verdade, atingir objetivos que são os nossos, que no fundo são os objetivos que todos temos. Perseguir a felicidade, sabendo que ela existe e que nós vamos andar toda a vida que nos resta à procura dela, sem todavia alguma vez a termos encontrado. Muito obrigado pela presença que aqui tem, todas as pessoas que aqui vieram, em particular à Escola Secundária Inês de Castro do Canideu e à sua diretora, a professora Carvalho, e os outros professores que vieram acompanhar os alunos. Espero que esta sessão seja para vocês um momento de enriquecimento cultural e, ao mesmo tempo, que tirem deste tempo que vão passar aqui connosco um prazer de poderem, fora do espaço normal das vossas aulas, conviverem também e poderem, de alguma maneira, verificar que, às vezes, fora das salas de aulas também se aprende. E, às vezes, aprende-se mais até que dentro das salas de aulas. E, por isso, esta experiência para vocês é também, certamente, muito interessante. Agradecer ao professor Freitas Magalhães por mais este trabalho e desejar que outros trabalhos que aí venham continuem a aprofundar cada vez mais este domínio importantíssimo do conhecimento do homem, porque, no fundo, como todos sabem, o homem é o princípio e o fim da história. Portanto, só com o homem é que se faz história, homem e mulher, naturalmente, e é nesta perspectiva que, quanto mais nós nos conhecermos, melhor a história será escrita. Professor Freitas Magalhães, muito obrigado. E os agradecimentos à Universidade de Fernando Pessoa, aos colaboradores do livro, naturalmente, que estão noutras partes, com quem o professor Fernando Freitas Magalhães irá daqui a pouco conversar, e dizer do muito gosto, da muita satisfação das edições da Universidade de Fernando Pessoa por estar aqui presente nesta sessão. Muito obrigado.
Bem, boa tarde a todos.
Antes de mais, boa tarde. Como subdiretora e representante da direção e da escola, neste momento solene, é com muito prazer que efetivamente partilhamos e partilho este momento especial na carreira do professor Dr. Freitas Magalhães. Agradeço igualmente ao Sr. Reitor. E, acima de tudo, quero sublinhar a intervenção positiva, a participação positiva que o professor Freitas Magalhães tem desenvolvido junto à comunidade educativa da Escola Secundária Inês de Castro. Devo acrescentar, alguns dos presentes não saberão, mas o professor é efetivamente o nosso consultor externo, ou seja, o amigo crítico da Escola Secundária Inês de Castro, enquanto supervisor do nosso projeto educativo como território educativo de intervenção prioritária. Paralelamente, devo agradecer a todos os colegas que estão aqui presentes e aos alunos, ao 12º ano, à turma 12º ano do ensino regular e à turma do curso profissional técnico de proteção civil, que prontamente acederam ao convite em partilhar em conjunto mais um momento especial na vida profissional e na carreira profissional do professor. Paralelamente e cumulativamente, porque estamos a falar de emoções, é com muito prazer que também integro um grupo de formandos de um curso, de uma oficina de formação sobre gestão de conflitos, dinamizada pelo professor Freitas Magalhães, e que resolvemos, estamos aqui um conjunto de formandos, não só docentes, mas formandos, resolvemos presentear o professor com a nossa presença para, mais uma vez, reconhecermos o mérito e a colaboração sempre positiva e pronta que tem desenvolvido até o momento. Obrigada.
Porque temos alguns colegas que estão no outro lado do planeta e lá, como devem calcular, já não há sol. Portanto, temos de tentar contactá-los o mais rapidamente possível. Antes de mais, boa tarde, obrigado por terem vindo. Em primeiro lugar, vamos tentar contactar os colegas e depois faz-se uma apresentação dos novos projetos do Laboratório da Expressão Facial da Emoção. Vamos tentar contactar em primeiro lugar o professor Simon, que está na Tasmânia, na Austrália, e que colabora na edição deste livro. O Simon está do outro lado. Hello, Simon.
Hello there.
How are you? Fine?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. You are prepared to speak about your chapter?
Yes, I am. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, you can. Sure. What time is it? What time is it?
It's 1:36. Hold on, I'm just having some difficulty.
That's okay. You are okay now?
Just give me 1 minute.
We can see you. Is it possible to put your video on?
Yes, it is on. I'm having trouble connecting. I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second. I'm having difficulty acquiring an image of myself.
Yes. Simon, I call you again, okay?
I think so.
Okay. Just a moment. Ok. Vamos tentar mais uma vez.
I'm up there.
Okay. Now it's okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You see me?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You are okay now? Okay. You can speak about your chapter, please.
Okay. Well, hello everybody. It's great to be here, and I'm very excited to be part of the Brain Interface, and it's excellent to have been able to contribute to Volume 2. I am a PhD student in the School of Psychology, University of Tasmania in Australia, and I have prepared some slides on my chapter. Before I start, Ed, is everything okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Okay, I'll try and pull up my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start now. The core of the human neural system for face perception is thought to consist of 3 bilateral regions. the inferior occipital gyri, the lateral fusiform gyrus, and the superior temporal sulcus. The region of the IOG appears to be heavily involved in the visual analysis of faces. The region in the LFG appears to be involved more in the representation of identity, whereas the region in the STS appears more in the representation of changeable aspects of faces. However, there is a slight problem. Are the face regions specified in the genome or derived from experience? Several new lines of evidence point to a specific role of genes in determining the neural regions of face perception. First, face perception is more strongly correlated for identical than fraternal twins. That is, face perception ability is heritable. Second, perception abilities are present in human newborns and even in baby monkeys reared for up to 2 years without ever seeing faces. However, questions remain. Perhaps these genes simply increase social interest and therefore experience with face perception enhancing ability through training. My chapter in Volume 2 focuses on how developmental neuroimaging work can add to this question by providing evidence about the developmental pathway of face perception abilities in the human brain. I investigate these studies in 3 theories of the neural basis of an advanced and infant abilities. The first view is the maturational view, in which the maturation of one region allows new abilities to emerge. Here, in the example of development, maturation of dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or DLPC, has been correlated with successful performance in the object retrieval task. Although the task itself involves activity in several regions, it is thought to be maturation of only one of these, the DLPC, that results in changed behaviour. By contrast, an interactive specialization view proposes that a new ability is due to changes in the interactions between several regions already partially active. Here in the example, changes in the interactions between DLPC, parietal cortex and cerebellum might give rise to successful performance in the object retrieval task. In contrast to the maturational view, it is refinement of the connectivity between regions rather than within a single region that is important. In the final theory, the skill learning model, the pattern of activity of cortical regions changes during the acquisition of new skills. In our example, there is decreasing activation of DLPC accompanied by increasing activation of more posterior regions as adults perform a visual motor learning task. Similar changes might occur during the acquisition of new skills by infants. So, going back to face perception in children, I'll just review 3 studies from my chapter to convey some of the flavour of the chapter.
Yes.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything okay.
Okay. Gathers et al. Found specialised activity in fusiform gyrus and parahippocampal place area in 9 to 11-year-olds for faces and places, respectively, but not in 5-year-olds. Another fMRI study found increased bilateral selective activation for faces in the older children in comparison to the younger children. Finally, Sheriff et al. Found equal fusiform gyrus responses to faces, objects and buildings in 5 to 8-year-olds and 11 to 14-year-olds. These findings support the view of the interactive specialization theory that face perception abilities become more specialized with the age. Another area of face perception research that could add to our understanding of the role of genes and experience in face perception abilities is research on developmental prosopagnosia, or DP. DP refers to individuals who never develop typical adult-like face perception abilities, especially facial identity recognition skills. The condition can occur in the absence of any intellectual or sensory deficit or acquired injury in the lifespan. Now, while family members can be affected with this condition, nothing is currently known about the caregiving practices or social interactions within these families. Therefore, the specificity or directness of a genetic effect remains unknown. Now, relative to our topic, face perception, fMRI studies show that adults with DP activate face-sensitive areas of cortex. However, the degree of selectivity of this response is under doubt. A plausible interpretation of these results is that while adults with DP show activation in face-sensitive areas such as the fusiform gyrus, may also show a lack of specificity in this response reported for typically developing children. Moreover, in the second study on this slide, Abadan et al. Showed that in 4 individuals with DP, face perception recruited additional brain areas that were not commonly found in neurotypical adults. One such area is the inferior frontal gyrus, which, with interest, this region has been found to be activated in children in some of the developmental studies I reviewed in my chapter. Finally, a fMRI face training study of a patient with DP showed that as behavioural performance on face identification tasks improved, the selectivity of cortical processing faces, as measured by the N70 component, increased. Increased functional connectivity between face selected regions, as measured by fMRI, especially the right occipital face area, right fusiform gyrus face area, was also observed in this training study. This study supports interactive specialization and skill learning hypothesis account of DP, according to which sufficient training in faces alters the response of cortical face areas toward the neurotypical pattern, which is consistent with the interactive specialization and skill learning hypotheses I described earlier. So, to sum up my chapter on this topic, while neural activation for faces in children and patients with DP positively correlate with neurotypical adults, this activation is less face specialised as face localised in neurotypical populations. Therefore, it's possible to suggest that there may be increases in the degree of specialisation and localisation of face activity in cortex during development. And this conclusion supports the IES and SL views described earlier, and is in contrast to the maturation or genetic account of face perception I described earlier. So that is the chapter, and just before I close this very brief presentation, just a few words, if I may, on my other projects and future projects. My PhD is on the recognition advantage of paint faces compared to emotional neutral faces and peripheral vision, and we'll be examining the time course and brain region of pain face peripheral vision, and whether the pain face advantage extends to patients with disturbances such as anopia. And finally, the face brain, body brain. I'm quite interested in a unique phenomenon called the smile of pain, which occurs as the image shows late in the onset of pain stimuli, and I think this is quite an interesting phenomenon that I might submit an article on for volume 3. All right, thank you very much for your time. That concludes my presentation. And again, thank you very much for the invitation, and it's a great privilege to contribute to this second volume and this excellent project.
Okay, Simon. Thank you
for
your time. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Muito bem, vamos ver se conseguimos então falar com... Vamos agora até Nova York. Tentar falar com o professor David McCabe. Quero dizer que o professor David McCabe trabalha com a professora John Lawrence, que é uma das investigadoras mais qualificadas na área da neuropsicologia. Hello, David.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Very good, thank you.
Okay. May I see you, please?
Yes, here we go.
Oh, okay.
Is it working?
Okay. Just a moment. Oh, that's okay. Is it possible to speak about your chapter, please?
Yes, absolutely. My connection is a bit slow. Let me see if it settles down.
Yeah. Tell me.
And I'd like to actually try to share some slides just to help explain what we're doing. So if you'll let me just set this up.
Yes.
And here we go. Can you see my screen there?
Yes, yes. So that's
Okay. So let me... Alright, here we go. Sorry about that. So the work that we're doing right now is... The title of the chapter that I composed with my colleagues, and again, my name is Steve McKee. I'm from Queens College and the Graduate Center from the City University of New York. And with Dr. Borod, Eric Meltzer, Jennifer Spielman, and Gloria Browning, we investigated the emotional and motoric factors, neuropathology, and Duchenne smiling, and Parkinson's disease. And we were especially interested in masked faces in Parkinson's disease. Is the connection still working okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. So just to give some brief background on Parkinson's disease, I know much of your audience will be familiar with this, but just to provide a bit of background, it's a neurodegenerative disease affecting about 1 to 2% of adults who are over the age of 60. And the motor symptoms that people are most familiar with, and the cardinal symptoms of the disease, are resting tremor, rigidity, bradykinesia, a sort of slowness of movement, and then difficulty walking and ambulating, and also a more general postural instability. And what we're coming to learn about and appreciate more and more are the non-motor symptoms of Parkinson's, which include psychiatric features, especially depression, but also anxiety and apathy. And of course, they've known about the cognitive deficits, so sort of subcortical dementia for a long time. And we also know more and more about autonomic dysfunction and sleep disturbances, and there's more than this that can be discussed. But again, what our focus was, the focus of our research and the focus of our chapter, is really masked faces. And this is something that's present in almost all people with Parkinson's disease. And essentially, it is a lack of expressiveness, a lack of facial expressiveness. And crucially, for the most part, this is despite the fact that these individuals with Parkinson's have intact emotions. It's not that they're not experiencing these emotions, however, they're just not being expressed. And we're interested in this because we think it's very psychosocially, interpersonally significant deficit that occurs in PD. And when we talk about facial expression and when we talk about facial expression deficits in Parkinson's disease, one thing that we were interested in is looking for a rather specific behavioral marker, psychosocially significant behavioral marker. And the Duchenne smile is what really caught our eye. And again, I know much of your audience is familiar with the Duchenne smile, but briefly, just to sort of recap, it's a smile where you see the upturned lips, and you also see a sort of wrinkling around the eyes. And this is another way to put this is that it's a smile that seems very authentic and genuine. When you see someone showing the Duchenne smile, they appear to be actually enjoying themselves or having experiencing pleasant emotions. And in terms of the research on Duchenne smiles, people know that they tend to induce a favorable impression in whoever is seeing that person. And we know that, going back to Parkinson's disease, we see fewer Duchenne smiles. And furthermore, when people look at video footage of people with Parkinson's disease, they tend, just by looking at the nonverbal behavior of these individuals, to develop an unfavorable impression. They think these individuals with Parkinson's disease, they anticipate that they will be irritable, unfriendly, and less intelligent, and overall they just get a bad impression of people. And it's reasonable to assume, I think, that part of this issue, part of the reason why individuals with PD induce this negative impression in the people who look at them is because of their lack of facial expressivity, and in particular because of the dysfunction and irregularity of the Duchenne smile. And this is, on the left we see, I believe this is a Duchenne in one of his famous patients. You can see, this isn't, I wouldn't say this is a pure Duchenne smile, but you certainly see the upturned lips, and also the sort of crinkled eyes. And this gentleman had some sort of paralysis, and his muscles are being, can be electrically stimulated to create this smile. Here's some more photos, and it looks like they've done quite a number on this gentleman. And also, this is, I think, maybe a more clear example. And that you clearly see the teeth, the stretched mouth, and the closing of the eyes and the wrinkling of the eye corners, and also the raising of the cheeks. And this is really a classic Duchenne smile. So, having established that background, what are we doing? What is my current research involved? I have two goals. One is we've talked about these problems in P, and now we're interested in possible solutions, possible treatments. So the first goal of my research is to look at the long-term efficacy, so the 6-month efficacy of a behavioral-based voice treatment in facial expressivity in Parkinson's disease. And then there's a second goal, which is really to think about how this treatment, if it affects anything in Parkinson's disease, how is it affecting the Duchenne smiling in particular? And in terms of methodology, I think much of your audience will be familiar with the facial action coding system. So myself and another rater will be coding video footage of several groups of participants. And these participants are going to be engaged in happy monologues. So we're going to be looking at video footage of them talking about a happy experience that they had. And we're going to be looking at individuals with Parkinson's disease and also matched controls. And in terms of the treatment conditions that we're looking at, we'll be looking at a no treatment condition, a respiratory voice treatment, and then the Lee-Silverman voice treatment. And the reason why we're looking at the Lee-Silverman voice treatment is because preliminary evidence suggests that even though it was designed to treat voice deficits in Parkinson's disease, which are very common, there is preliminary evidence to suggest that it also increases facial expressivity. So the purpose of the study is to get some more objective data and a larger volume of data to really answer this question and see, does this treatment actually improve facial expressivity in Parkinson's disease? And just to sum it all up, I don't know if the members of the audience can read this text. It might be too small. But this is a diagram that was included in our chapter that really outlines the complexity of this issue. If you look on the right of the screen, we see diminished facial affect. So that's the sort of mask we see and the expression deficits that we see in Parkinson's. However, what's important is to think about how this deficit actually gets there. And it could be from experiential deficits, such as pathological emotion experience, such as depression or apathy in Parkinson's disease, or you could have preserved emotional experience in Parkinson's, and just motor deficit through emotional expression deficit, these preserved emotions just aren't able to come out. And so, thus, have two main possibilities, which are a lack of emotional experience, or diminished emotional experience, and then preserved emotional experience. And probably the reality is that there is some degree of diminished emotional experience, such as depression and apathy. But certainly in Parkinson's disease, we can't forget that there is very significant motor deficits, including rigidity and bradykinesia and or hypokinesia. And that is pretty much it in terms of an overview of what we're doing. So I'll try to get rid of the slides and return myself to Theo if this works.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what we're up to.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
It's nice to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
O professor David McCabe trabalha, conforme eu disse, na Universidade de Nova Iorque, com a professora John Ward, e está a investigar a expressão facial em doentes de Parkinson, nomeadamente estudar a influência do sorriso do Shen, o chamado Shen Smile, que já foi estudado há bastante tempo, do Shen, que deu nome ao sorriso. Vamos tentar agora falar com o Gavin, que está em Londres. Hello, Gavin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Fine. Is it possible to see you?
Yeah?
Yeah? Oh. You can speak about your chapter, please.
Okay. Well, I will start my stopwatch because I know I have about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15.
Okay. Well, firstly, to welcome to everyone. I'm not quite sure how many people I'm speaking to, but welcome. I hope it's an enjoyable presentation for you. What I'll do now is switch to viewing my desktop.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen. And hopefully you can see that.
Yes, I know. But if you have troubles, you can speak, okay?
Okay. So I'm
Don't worry, okay?
just trying to find the PowerPoint. Okay. So can you see the PowerPoint?
No.
Can you see the PowerPoint now?
No.
Ah, that's a shame. Sorry about that.
No. But you can speak about your chapter, you know?
Okay.
Don't worry. Next time you speak very well with the PowerPoint, okay?
Okay.
Oh, just a moment.
Yes, could be working.
Yeah.
Almost there. I'm using up a lot of my time, but
No, now I see your desktop.
yes, good.
I see the site.
Okay, so maybe now you can finally see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, you can.
Excellent. Okay, well, what I'll talk about is expressions of pride and proud feelings, the chapter that I produced. And can I say firstly as well, thank you for the opportunity to talk about to talk about the work that I've done, and it's a great opportunity to be involved in the book. So I'll give you
Welcome.
And so I'll give you an overview. I'll talk about, firstly, the introduction. I'll go through what distinguishes pride from other positive emotions. I'll talk about pride research, bodily components and mapping the face. So as part of the book, in the book chapter, the face and body, but also, in my view, non-verbal, linguistic and conversation-based components are important as well. And I'll talk a little about what happens when you examine both elite and non-elite marathon runners as a way of examining pride. So to begin with, pride is understood mostly as a positive emotion. But I would argue that the focus on the individual is a little too narrow, because often people are also proud of others, and sometimes the pride we take in the achievements of others can be an emotion that's more intense than that sort of experiences
him or herself. Also, pride occurs as an emotion in crowds. And not long ago I had the experience of being in South Africa and being in public viewing settings where people experience the euphoria and the pride of seeing South Africa score the first goal in the World Cup. So that gives another dimension to pride and understanding how people feel these emotions very intensely in group settings as well. Now in the literature on pride, there's a focus often on underlying processes, underlying cognitive processes, and prototypical expressions. I'll give you some examples of prototypical expressions of pride later. I would argue the focus on underlying processes sometimes leads us away from pride as it's expressed in the face and the body and through language and conversation in interaction. So I think we need to be careful of focusing too much on underlying cognitive processes. It may be the case that pride is more more mixed and less prototypical than has previously been acknowledged. And I'll talk about some of the work by Tracy and Roberts in relation to that. So what distinguishes pride from other positive emotions? Well, there are a variety of criteria for distinguishing pride. Obviously, there are the types of bodily expressions of pride we see when a football player scores a goal. In addition, we have examples such as the Olympic Games, where we have athletes celebrating, and there have been some studies of these celebrations. I'll talk about some of that research shortly. So pride can be often expressed behaviourally in celebrations, to triumph, but it also can be reliably communicated through verbal responses. And so it's important to remember that the quality of the voice can also distinguish pride from other emotions. Savini and Silva in 2005 investigated the similarities and differences between pride and joy, and they actually argued that whether you win Wimbledon, the tennis tournament, or if you win a lottery, there's no real difference in terms of the emotion and what you experience. They seem to suggest that it's only the context that's different. So I began the chapter with that point because I argue that they're incorrect to say that. I think pride does manifest differently. And I use the example of what I call the weave of a person's life. So if you can imagine one expression of a person's emotions in a weave, not only of their own life, but in their relationships with others and in their interactions with others, we actually start to see what's different about pride. And so in the case of winning Wimbledon, in contrast to winning a lottery, pride in the case of winning Wimbledon is something I made happen, it's something I did. It's not just something that happened to me. I think that's one crucial difference. But there are other differences as well. What else distinguishes pride from other positive emotions? Pride also involves an expanded sense of self. You might have heard of Barbara Fredrickson's theory of positive emotion, that positive emotions involve a broadening and building of cognitive and other resources. Now that might be the case, but it's interesting when we look at pride that there may not be a broadening and building of attention, for example. So it may be the case that pride doesn't expand attention. Maybe it narrows it. Maybe also our cognition is narrowed as well. So for example, when celebrating a national team victory, watching the Portuguese team play or the Spanish team play and they win, we often tend to focus on ourselves.
Kevin, you know Portuguese team?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
And what do you think about Portuguese kids?
I think they're excellent.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, much pride developed from them.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, and what do you think about this project, the Brain and Face, the international project?
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's an excellent project. It's certainly a great chance to contribute work like mine and to try to move the area forward.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Okay.
Depois destas apresentações, irei mostrar-vos algum do trabalho que é feito no Laboratório de Expressão Facial da Emoção e aí falarei exclusivamente em português, está bem? Vamos então falar com Jean-Claude na Universidade de Paris, vamos até Paris, e vamos deixar para o fim, depois da apresentação, vamos deixar para o fim uma ideia em dia, vamos terminar com uma ideia da nova data. O professor Jean-Claude é professor de Computer Science em Paris. Hello, sir. Hello? You are okay? Oh, you have another contact. You are okay? Jean-Claude está na lua. You understand Portuguese?
No.
Okay. How are you?
Fine. And you?
Okay.
Thank you for the invitation to present.
Yeah, you can.
So,
Talk about your research.
so we are conducting a research in my lab. So I'm a professor at Paris South University, and I'm trying to share some slides at the moment.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to appear. So we are conducting research on real humans and virtual humans and the interaction between both. So you can find more information on our web pages. We have a team of people coming from different disciplines: computer science, psychology, or economics. And today I will speak about our research in terms of facial expression. So we have designed a platform for animating facial expression of emotion, which is called a map. So it's defined by Mathieu Courgeon during his PhD thesis. And we use that to conduct experiments on how people perceive expression of emotion. For example, we inspired from Ekman's work to design a facial expression of basic emotion. And we also inspired from other corpora for more complex emotion, like the mindful database. And I will also describe some research work on the combination between face and posture. So it will be my second point. So let me first start by describing a map.
So mark is a framework for the design and rendering of explicit characters, grounded on psychological models of emotion. So here you have an overview of two tools of mark. So here on the upper right corner you have the facial editor for editing a facial expression, and on the bottom part you have the filter for factors. So in this slide we show how we express facial expression of emotion. So we have a quite detailed facial mesh with 20,000 polygons. We use MPEG-4 control points, and we also added the possibility to specify a wrinkles map, which are rendered at our runtime using bug mapping techniques. One of the applications of that is to conduct experimental studies about how people perceive facial expression of emotion. In this example, we have designed facial expression for both basic emotion, using command descriptions, and also complex emotion, like interest, for example, using the MyDynamic database. So we'll play a short video. So the goal of this study was to study how people perceive facial expression. So here you have an example of the use of our editor for specifying facial expressions. So we use a direct manipulation technique. And in this example, we also add the wrinkles that are used at rendering time to render map wrinkles. So here you have an example of a preview of the final wrinkles in the editor. And here you have an example of the rendering of the facial expressions. So it's an interpolation between different expressions. Well, we designed different rendering modes. So we had 4 rendering modes. The idea was that we wanted to compare how people perceive these different rendering modes. For example, here we have a mode in which no wrinkles are displayed. In this mode, symbolic wrinkles. Here are more realistic wrinkles using the PARTE technique. And here only wrinkles, so there is no movement of the face. And the idea was to compare these different rendering modes. We designed expressions for 8 emotions, 4 basic emotions. So it was based on commands and prison book and masking the face. And so we used the MyDynamic database to inspire the design of 4 mental states. And in the experiment, we had people rate the emotion that they were recognizing in the stimulus in terms of categories. So we had also a list of distractors. So it was time constraint. And we also had a subjective measure at the end, asking people to specify which rendering mode they prefer and which one they find more expected. So the results were good. What we observed was that the different right-wing votes, so they were different as follows. Only the wrinkles mode played an equal role with the emotion. This means that whatever the swing mode, the movement of the facial feet represents emotion categories in our scheme. So the results between the different wrinkling modes in terms of recognition of emotion categories in our schemes. Yet we observe difference in terms of answers. People reported that they prefer the realistic wrinkling mode, which is kind of quite important if we have people interacting with the characters all the time. And we also have an effect on perceived intensity, which is that people perceive more intense expression when there are more wrinkles. We have also an application, different application using mark. So in this example, we have an artistic application in which a dancer is expressing emotion using his body. The emotion is recognized by another partner's module, and the emotion is expressed using mark's facial expression.
So,
and finally, to sum up, I end up with another module that we use in mark, in which we have an appraisal module that we tested in the game application. This is the reverse application. And the situation is appraised according to the Sherras module. So different criteria are evaluated. For example, if the situation was expected or not, if it's measured or not. And for each of these criteria, the facial expression is vague. So we are working on a type of relation between different planes. Like facial expression are combined with posture, speech. We also implemented the mark platform an immersive setup using full-size character. And we also are going to work on cross-cultural differences in our new project.
So, what do you think about the partnership with your lab and the FEELab in Portugal?
Sorry?
What do you think about the partnership with your lab and the FEELab in Portugal?
Well, that sounds quite interesting. I think the topic of brain interface is quite promising. So we will be happy to collaborate. For example, if you have people willing to use the platform to test how the expression of emotion are perceived, we're using different rendering modes or different types of modalities like the face, but also combination with posture.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bem, vamos então deixar a professora mete o pós-lá para mais tarde e vamos falar sobre o FEELab World, ou seja, sobre o que se faz no laboratório da expressão facial da emoção. Waiting for a calling, ok?